Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Avon Pension Fund Investment Panel. We've just been discussing item 10 on the agenda, which is review of our investment performance for the period ending the 30th of September 2020. Our officers and our advisors from Mercers have talked us through Appendix 1, 2, and 4, and then Appendix 3 and 5 in exempt session. We've had a good discussion on those, and now I will be looking for members of the panel to propose the recommendation, which is that we note the information set out in the paper and the 5 appendices. May I have a
move that, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dando. And a seconder? Thank you very much, Councillor Shern. So I will assume everyone's in favour unless they indicate in the Zoom chat function. And no one has voted abstain or against, so that has passed unanimously that we note paper 10, and we move on to paper 11 on the agenda, which is the task force on climate related financial disclosures, and our Avon Pension Fund officer Liz Woodyard will introduce this item.
Thanks, Chair. So a paper just for noting. In our strategic review last year, when we had our session on responsible investing, climate change, we considered whether we should report in line with the TCFD recommendations at that point, and we agreed that we would look into it. We expect regulation or legislation soon that funds over 5 billion, which we are, will have to report in line with these recommendations from our year ending in 2022. But Mercers have already reviewed our strategy and policy documents versus the recommendations, and they think that we could actually meet the requirements now. So on that basis, we intend, resources allowing, and I'm quite positive about that, but just it is just an intention due to that, to report on this basis for the year ending March 2021. It will all dovetail into our responsible investing report and everything. So it's not necessarily an extra bit of work. It's just that we have to report differently. Brunel should be able to support us with all the data as well. So that shouldn't be an issue for us. And I think this is really important because it just shows our commitment to addressing climate change as a fund, and the way that we want to disclose and show what we're doing. So I think it's quite an important initiative, and so that was all that we needed to say, really. Within Brunel, but obviously Brunel report on it, and the Environment Agency do. Quite a few other funds I know have commitment to, but they aren't necessarily doing it yet, and lots of them are less than 5 billion, so they most probably have till 2023 in any case.
Thank you much, Liz. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Liz before we move to the recommendations to note the paper? No. In that case, can I see a proposer and seconder that the panel notes the intention to adopt the Task Force on Climate Related Financial Disclosures recommendations for the year ending 31st of March 2021?
So moved, Chair.
Thank you much, Councillor Shern.
Second.
And Councillor Dando has seconded that. And again, if anybody wants to abstain or vote against, please make that indication in the chat function. Nope, so that paper is passed unanimously. So we move on to the last item on the agenda, which is the forward agenda. And again, Liz, I think you will introduce this item.
Yes, thanks, Chair. Last one. So we've got our proposed agenda. We will update it once we've got a better idea of timing for our workshops for our equity portfolio review next year. And we will bring any further information back to panel on the EPS, the implementation, but it'll be for information only. Other than a trigger framework.
Thank you. So again, this is just to note. So I will be looking for a proposer and seconder to note.
Happy to propose we note, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dando.
Second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shern. And again, if you want to not note the paper, please indicate in the chat function. No, we have formally noted that paper. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending today's meeting or watching the meeting online. I'd like to declare the meeting